Great. Thank you for joining us for this session. We are going to get right down to business with Mike Manoogian, co-owner of Salt of the Earth Sarasota. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Erin.
So you as a small business owner, a salt therapy business, have some great advice, knowledge and experience, which I would love you to share with our listeners, especially those that are looking into getting into salt therapy and perhaps starting up their own facility. Perhaps you could just let us know a little bit more about your business and how long you've been going for.
Sure, be happy to. So as the co-owner, this is something that my wife and I have done. We have been in business for 5.5 years now. In the Sarasota area, we have one door today in operation, potentially looking to expand. But we came upon salt therapy, and it was something that my wife always says, I didn't choose it, it chose me. And she looked at it as a position of service and how she can help people in our community from an all-natural healing perspective. And that ethos has just broadened out to burgeoning business, as I mentioned, 5.5 years and growing.
That's fantastic. And I think a lot of our listeners can kind of emphasize with the whole salt found me kind of thing.
Sure.
A lot of us out there have had a similar situation, which has drawn us to salt therapy. So let's start right at the beginning. For those that are wanting to start a salt business, where do you start?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we spent a lot of time thinking about it. And then once we actually got into the corridor of doing, things fell into place a lot faster than we had anticipated, which was a good thing. And I think that's one of the things that I would share with the viewers here and those that are thinking about it or embarking on it. It's okay to do the thinking, and then it's important to get into the doing. And the reason I say that is because of the operation of a salt therapy business is not difficult. It's easy to explain to people. There's a novelty around it. And as an operator, you're going to be able to not only help people, but start to monetize what will be an initial investment. So as I think about what we did, we needed to find a space. We found that space. We had envisioned just having a salt room or a salt cave, and that broadened out into becoming more of a pure play into what we call salt therapy and wellness in our area, where we're now offering different modalities than just a main salt room. So my coaching there to folks is, definitely think about it, understand that there is an investment of time and money to get started, but get into the doing, because the monetization of it is achievable and it's not a long tail to earn back your initial investment.
Brilliant. Did you find it hard to find your location?
That was a little bit difficult, but there was a lot of space available, and it was just deciding on what would give us the most traffic, what would give us the most visibility. I do also think with the level playing field of the internet, that you're able to position your business now in a much easier way. And while location and visibility is important, because you're offering such a novel service, if you're promoting it correctly, using the tools that are available to us, you're going to get the traffic. So I don't think that that should be as difficult going forward, just because of how easy it is to market oneself into the market of with the internet, and being able to tell people where it is you are, what it is you do, and how long you'll be open in your days of operation.
So you found the location. The next bit would be setting up the salt room. How did you decide what equipment to go for, how big to make the room, those kind of things?
Yeah, and this is a good point too. So we had decided that we were going to feature a main salt room. We went with a little bit more of a modern style than the cave. So we don't have any salt on the walls or the ceiling per se, but we did merchandise the floor with salt bricks and Himalayan rock salt crystals. And that was going to be the feature. And then we had additional treatment rooms for other salt therapy modalities. One is another booth. One is also a salt bed. And what we learned pretty quickly is that individuals that were coming in loved the main salt room, but they wanted that personal service. So they were doing more of the single services for one individual as opposed to the communal service of the main salt room. And that's an interesting thing. We can come back to that in a little bit too, just about lessons learned, but that's how we got started. We wanted to not only have one place as a community place, but also individual spaces. And that has actually proven to be a good decision.
And I guess if you had some separate smaller rooms that could be used as treatment rooms, you could even hire those out to other therapists as a different revenue stream, just while you get yourself up and running, or just to add more therapies to your business without having to invest quite so much into staffing. Yeah,
definitely a help if you do have that additional space. To your point, additional professional services or another modality, be it a massage, be it acupuncture, something to help remunerate yourself as part of your cash outlay as you're, taking in a little bit of money from maybe a space you'd rent out to somebody. Yeah, definitely beneficial to get started that way.
So when you were starting, did you have like a budget that you were working with to try and fit everything in, or did you just go for it?
We had a budget. Like most startings, we went over budget, but that was okay, because our goal was to get open and to start attracting the customers that we were looking for. And the thing I also wanted to mention is the cost of operating a salt therapy business, from the actual operating cost. Once you have your equipment, you're talking about very small amounts of sodium chloride, small amounts of halotherapy, salt solution. So your operating expense per session is almost like a nickel.
Yeah, it's
so
brilliant.
Your operating margin is great. And obviously you need to pay back your investment in any equipment. You obviously have your rent, but the operating margin itself is very good. So if you can create a lot of volume, then you're starting to get yourself ahead of the game. And then you get into, positive cash flow conversations, et cetera. But yes, we had a budget, definitely went a little bit over the budget, but we were able to get ourselves operating and monetizing all that investment. And then things improved from there.
And how did you go about choosing that equipment to use? Obviously, you've got a salt room, so I'm guessing you just needed a halo generator to go in there.
We actually chose it based on the design as well as the features and what it would take for my wife as a single operator to manage the different modalities that we offered. So another cool thing, and I talk about operability a lot when we connect with different people who come in, or they ask us about the machines, or they're interested in doing this on their own. The equipment is designed in such a way that it's essentially a one-button, zero-touch operation, meaning you can take your client or customer into their service. They can seat themselves, they can get themselves prepared to receive a salt therapy session. You don't have to engage them in any way. You don't have to necessarily touch them. There's no specific hands-on. And then in the main room, we have a halo generator. It's preset to a specific time. We put in the salt, we press one button, and the machine runs and stops on its own. Clients let themselves out. So that sort of zero touch, one button operation was what helped us decide on the equipment, because the other equipment we chose has a very similar setup. So we're able to put somebody into a salt therapy booth. We close the door, press the button. When they're done, they let themselves out. Same thing on our heated salt bed. We put them on the bed. When their timer's up, they get up and let themselves out. So as an owner operator, for my wife to run what is now 6 different treatment rooms in our business, she can do it by herself because she's not having to physically tend to anybody. And once she sets somebody up in their session, she can go back to the desk, answer emails, answer the phone, tend to another customer. And then again, those customers are more on a self-service mode. So that was what helped us decide on which specific machines, equipment to purchase, because it left her free to actually operate a business.
Yeah. So I guess kind of the key in there is to do your research and make sure that you're buying equipment that's going to work with the model that you're looking to operate.
Sure.
And look at the different benefits that you can get from the halo generators, the size of the room, how much salt they use. All of those kind of things are worth considering when you're looking to purchase your equipment.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a staff and you want to create an up-level modality where maybe somebody's on a salt bed also getting a massage, that's great. You can obviously create a little bit more money back for that investment that you would make, because you have to also pay that individual. But that would also take somebody away from the front of the business. So as long as that's in your plans, obviously appropriate that in your budget accordingly.
And how did you work out the pricing of the sessions to charge as well?
That was a pretty quick decision for us. I think there's a nice natural space where you have to find where someone's willing to pay for what is a novel modality, but also understanding you're competing against a lot of other wellness modalities too. They can go to an acupuncturist, they can go to a reflexologist, they can go get a massage. This is really all about the inside of the body, right? Everything we're doing in salt therapy is taking care of our insides, our respiratory well-being, where those others are really, someone's on the outside of your body, maybe manipulating your body, be it a chiropractor or other. So you have to create what I would say is a similar price, but different benefit cost for that customer, right? Give them a different cost benefit analysis. So the pricing wasn't hard. What was something that we have to do and continually do when we also meet new customers is to evangelize the therapeutic benefits of salt therapy. And once that clicks in for somebody, I don't want to say that the pricing becomes immaterial, but they create a value justification for them to say, yes, I could add this to my wellness patterns that I would go through, or I might replace something that I was doing with this because now it's protecting me inside. So yeah, deciding on the pricing wasn't hard. We kind of kept it in a similar range to those other services, but we positioned the better cost benefit analysis as to how it would help you on your inside, as opposed to just everything else we might do that does the outside.
Yeah, so I guess a little bit of research into your local area, what people are charging for different treatments, and this is going to vary all across the globe, isn't it? So
it will vary market by market. Yeah, we definitely want to help people. People will call, they say, I'm setting up a business, and my first question is, well, what market are you in? Because obviously different markets will warrant a different price point. And that has been helpful, but yes, you have to understand your market. But I think the other thing you can do is you can also test and iterate with your pricing pretty easily. There's different ways that you can try things. Another thing that helped us that I would share with the viewers is creating packages. So be it a 3-pack or a 10-pack. And we also offer a lot of what we call monthly unlimited subscriptions, where customers can buy just a set of one service or a multiple of services for a 30-day period. Come as many times as you want, because that kind of gets them into the habit of coming, and you're starting to earn a repeat customer. They're sharing what they're getting out of your business, and then more people are coming.
Yeah, it's really important to try and get people to commit to coming regularly to get the most out of halotherapy. So having a monthly membership is a great idea, and the more they come, the more they realize how much it's helping them.
Yeah, that one decision on the monthly has worked out very well. I would highly recommend.
Excellent. And just a quick plug here on the World Halotherapy Association website, there is a free download for a profitability projection calculator. If you are struggling a little bit with numbers and things like that, jump in there, download that. It'll bring you up a spreadsheet, and you can start playing with some numbers and just see how much it's all going to cost you. And there's some kind of tips on what to make sure that you make allowances for in there, including electricity costs and rental, as well as equipment costs, and then help with your package prices as well. So you've obviously got a very successful business running there, which is brilliant to hear. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I am interested to hear if you've found any things along the way that may have been mistakes or things that you might have learned from.
Yes, there's definitely mistakes. You definitely make mistakes as a business owner, but every time you make one, absolute learning opportunity, a way for you to course correct. And being a smaller business and just being my wife and I to manage, it was, easy for us as, committee, if you will, to decide to make changes and to see those results. The one thing I would call out immediately is what our thought process was that turned out to be a mistake / learning opportunity. As I shared at the top, we decided to merchandise our store and position our main salt room as the feature. And we have a beautiful salt room. It's 300 square feet. We have 8 luscious, stressless chairs that are super comfortable. And someone can go in there and lay down, do a salt session for 45 minutes and be completely relaxed. And as we modeled out what we were expecting from returns, I was thinking, wow, this has a room that's available every hour on the hour. I've got 8 chairs. I'll probably fill half of them. I'm going to charge $50 per person for a 45-minute session. If I sell out half the room, I'm going to make $200 an hour. And this is going to be the way that we're going to support the rest of the business. And what we learned very quickly is that customers were more apt to spend half the time in one of our salt therapy booths to get the same beneficial session and be alone than they wanted to spend 45 minutes and be with others that they didn't know. So what started to happen very quickly, we saw, is that they would see the main room, fall in love with the main room, love the idea, but choose very quickly to go into a single booth session by themselves and only spend 20 minutes instead of 45 in the main salt room. So the lesson learned there was the amount of space that I had put aside for a main salt room to have 8 people in there took up too much space of the area that we rented. So if I had to do it over again, I would have made a smaller main focused room, maybe for 4 people, maybe 5 max. And I would have set up multiple salt booths or multiple salt beds because it was much easier and consumable for somebody to do this if they were coming in for the first time or they had done it before, even to do it on their own, spend 20-25 minutes with us, and then leave and go about the rest of their day. The other benefit to that, if we go back to the operations from a business owner standpoint, is the main room I could only run once an hour, and these smaller rooms that are 20 minutes or 25 minutes, we were turning over 2 times an hour. So that started to show us very quickly that, not only am I getting more customers to do it, but I'm actually running them more often. So my unsolicited coaching out to folks that are thinking about it, yes, you might see these beautiful salt rooms, and they are a phenomenal place for maybe a whole family or a group. If I had to do it over again personally, I would have made a smaller main space, and I would have added additional rooms for other, I'll call it single use or individual, maybe even a couple salt therapy modality sessions. So that would be definitely something that I did. And I will also say that came to us when we opened, which was in 2017. So it was, well before any of the virus concerns that people had. It showed up very quickly. Like, rather than sit in that room with other people I don't know, I'll do a session by myself in half the time. Thank you. And I'll go on my way for the rest of my day. So definitely one lesson learned there.
And I guess that there is another benefit into having the smaller, more private rooms, is that those people that are suffering from, say, skin conditions can feel a bit more comfortable in stripping off to expose those areas to enable the halotherapy to get to the skin. So yeah, double win there. That's a shame.
I would agree with that.
Shame to hear that the big room isn't so popular, because I have seen photos of it and it looks fantastic. But
Thank you. It has gotten more popular over the time, but we learned very quickly that it wasn't what we expected to be the cash cow in the business, like we saw immediately, and has continued as well with the individual sessions.
I guess you can hold more kind of events in there, like sound bars or yoga or Pilates in there as well. Yeah.
Yes, and we do that, and that works out wonderfully.
Brilliant. And what have been some of your biggest successes? Like, what do you think that you did really well right from the outset?
So I think it's the pricing optionality that you provide to the customer was a big win for us right away. And I say that also to caution too, is you don't want to give out too many choices, right? As consumers, we're always getting bombarded with different offers or different specials. And we tried to stay away from the sizzle and just created a very simple plan. You want to do a single service, it's X. You want to do a 3-pack, it's Y. If you want to move up to the monthly unlimited, it's Z. So we didn't go and create, 7 different packages. We just created 3 for them to jump into, because one, as they were coming in, and if we needed to evangelize and teach them what salt therapy was, that was one hurdle. And then the second thing was, well, don't make it confusing on the pricing. If they're just starting to add this to their wellness modality, make it easy for them to try and then maybe commit with a subscription on a monthly basis. So it was interesting. The single session was actually the least. Somebody would come in, do a single session, say, I liked it, I want to move to the 3-pack. So we would say, okay, well, today would be day one, today would be number 1. You get 2 more. And then as they would come back and like it, they would not immediately all the time, but most often they would move into the monthly unlimited because they saw the benefit of it, both for themselves and for their wallet, because it got price advantageous for them to come on an unlimited basis as opposed to capping out at 3.
Yeah, brilliant. So this probably leads quite nicely onto marketing. What has worked for you best when it comes to marketing?
So I would say in that sense, the community, and be it World Halotherapy as well as other Halotherapy business owners, it's a great community. We've shared a lot. And frankly, we used some things that others have used. We've had people call us and we share what it is that we've used. So we kind of canvassed what was available in terms of internet marketing, how people are going about creating Facebook ads or Google ads to promote their business. So when we were thinking about it, we stayed away from print. We did very little radio. We actually did a local spot on TV with our local news channel. That actually created some good momentum for us, but it hasn't stayed as long as some of the internet-based marketing that we're doing, as well as reaching out into our community, just word of mouth. So I think it was great that folks that were doing this before us were helping, and then we just built upon that. But the biggest, I would say, win that we had was staying away from print, because it just didn't do anything for our specific business, and using the internet, Google, Facebook as much as possible, because most people, frankly, Erin, they're living off their mobile device, and that's how they're engaging with the world. So you kind of got to meet them where it is that they're engaging the world. So that was an easy thing for us to do, was to target individuals and to target different sectors, but doing it in an internet-based marketing way.
I mean, I've definitely found that word of mouth and a bit of networking, local networking, has probably worked best for myself. And people can also feel the passion that you're trying to share as well. And I think selling, you're not even selling it at that point. It's sharing this passion, and they can feel it from you, and they want to give it a go then.
Yeah, I would agree.
Talking about selling, do you sell any retail items as well as just your sessions?
We do. And my wife's been great at figuring out what it is that we want to offer as, call it, specific merchandise in our business. She's the one that sources it all, be it different bracelets or different candles or different aromatherapy. We have some oils. We have actually salt therapy, our halotherapy lamps and halotherapy foot domes that we sell. So there's another nice thing there too, is after a session or even before a session, we do have a nice area for retail. There is good margin in that side of the business. And it's novel. There are people in our lives that are sometimes hard to buy for, or another holiday or birthday comes up and you're lost as to what to get them that would be unique. And we actually market to that. So she's very good at positioning and merchandising different products that we have on these internet ads and
Mhm.
showing our community what it is that we have. And there are people that come in regularly because we're always turning over the merchandise. There's always new things there. So there's a reason to come back. She does a great job of that. Not a strength for me, but I would highly recommend for those that have that strength that yes, a retail component to your business is going to be beneficial because the margins are very, very strong.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think that's a really good overview for those that are looking into getting into salt therapy business. It is really the time for us right now, I think, off the back of the recent pandemic. People are really looking forward to taking more care of their respiratory health and hygiene, and just investing more into their health. Health is wealth. That's where I was going with that one. And as a preventative measure as well, rather than waiting until people get ill to try and cure it. Just to finish off, is there anything that you would like to just finish off with there, Mike?
Yeah, I would just piggyback a little bit of what you just said there. I feel like we all have done a good job of understanding or using the marketing that's come at us to do things on the outside of our body. And I think it's time to potentially shift that. And let's focus also on the insides of our body. And halotherapy, salt therapy is a phenomenal way to do that. Your respiratory well-being is just as important as your physical well-being or any workouts that you might be doing. And it's not a difficult way for you to improve your insides, improve your thoracics, improve your respiratory health. It's simple. You can come to a salt therapy center. You actually can stay dressed. You're not going to sweat. You're just basically sitting down and breathing what is going to be a tremendously therapeutic and beneficial modality to open up your airwaves and clean out your lungs and remove any bacteria and toxicity. And to your point, Aaron, post-pandemic, it's a great way to continue to maintain a good, healthy well-being, but it's always just good to have that in general, right? It's going to help you prolong your life. It's going to help you with sleep. It's going to help you with stress. And these are the ancillary benefits that you're getting on top of the main benefit of, again, respiratory wellness. So I agree with you. I would encourage all of us to focus just as much on our inside as we have done on our outside, and to definitely look at halotherapy as a modality that you should potentially put into your pattern of well-being, because the benefits are great and it does not take a lot of energy nor money to put this into your regular program.
That's brilliant. Some great advice there. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for joining us, and all the best with your ongoing business.
I so much appreciate it. This is super exciting, and best wishes to everybody and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.